Easter 1971, I was involved in a high-speed car crash. I was in the passenger seat, trapped upright by metal debris. People around me were shouting I was dead and I could not even lift an eyelid to indicate I was okay. I remember being above my body, but still in the car. I was fully conscious of all around me. I felt no fear, and this kept me in good stead for future experiences. The ambulance got me to hospital and I remember being on a table. I was above my body as they cut my clothes off. In October 1973, I was bedridden with a heavy flu. After a week, I was in bed and heavily hallucinating. I was floating in and out of bliss that consisted of being in a nice place, where the colors are brighter, and senses more alert. I was alternating between this place and my earthly reality. The doctor was called for and I was admitted to the hospital with both lungs collapsed. Only the top half of the right one working. In the hospital, they took samples and sent them for analysis. This took 8 days, whereby I was given no drugs, but continued to float in and out of this other world. With a week at home and 8 days in hospital, I gained control and could float in and out of this alternative world at will. I used to get annoyed at the nurses and doctors entering the room as my new reality would be shattered and end my bliss state. This would consist of sometimes 1. The tunnel, which I liked, the walls coming in, giving you security and the only way was forward. A good way to treat normal life, don't deal with things you cannot control, just follow the light. 2. Is the room alters and becomes a scene, this all shatters, like glass with no noise. When someone enters the room and reality returns. One that stands out is a Wild West bar scene, but I knew it was Australia. I was sat at a table and a saloon girl was behind with her hand on my chair. I couldn't see her but I knew she was there, we were close, several others were there and there was an atmosphere. The correct drugs were administered. And there were further complications where surgery and a spell in intensive care followed. I met an American in the hospital and we became close friends. He became like a surrogate father to me. Years later, whilst living in Holland, I was struck down outside my apartment clutching my heart and unable to breathe. I could not make it up the stairs and my girlfriend at that time loaded me in the car. Went upstairs and cleared the flat out and drove us to England to the safety of the English Health Service. There were times we thought we were not going to make it. But we cleared Dover and headed for the Leeds Chest and Heart Hospital. Things now eased as we got there and I passed every test they had, they thought we were wasting their time. I then went for a 5-mile run and was fine. Months later, I returned to the Isle of Man and went round to visit my friend Larry. His landlord told me he had died in hospital of a heart attack crying out my name. The same morning I collapsed in Holland with my supposed heart attack.